stream of life is never ending. It goes around and round and round again. You know the sun is rising while descending. It goes on and never ends.
Ride the Cyclone is a Canadian musical written and produced by Jacob Richmond and Brooke Maxwell. The show premiered in 2008 in British Columbia with a series of runs over Western Canada before making its premiere in 2015 in Chicago. It was well received and had an off-Broadway run in 2016 before making its exit from the stage. Ride the Cyclone follows a school choir who dies in a roller coaster accident. The choir find themselves competing for the chance for one person to return to life. The theme of death is a prominent concept explored throughout the 90-minute musical. Throughout this presentation, the theme of death will be studied from a semiotics, existentialist, and a semiotic existentialism perspective. Chandler claims that humans experience the world as meaningful, and that we are driven to find meaning in things. Semiotics investigates how that meaning is created and how it is communicated or interpreted. This indicates that signs are used to convey messages in a manner that is obvious to its audience. Common examples of this include conventional symbols, such as gendered restroom signs or a red traffic light to stop. Natural signs include dark clouds that can be seen as a sign of imminent rain, or when the sudden loss of water in a harbour can indicate a tsunami. Through semiotics, it can be understood that death in a Western culture is indicated by the colour black. It is often used in conjunction with formal attire and a sombre mood. Death itself represents finality and decay, bringing with it the feeling of powerlessness and mourning. In Ride the Cyclone, death is the main theme of the production and is actively exhibited to the audience. This is reinforced through the dark staging and the muted colour palette of the students' uniforms. The dark attire provides the feeling of a funeral and sets the mood for the audience as apprehensive and sombre with hints of anger. Death is also visually represented by the character of Jane Doe, who is the only member of the cast to be physically affected by her death. Jane has replaced her missing head with the head of her doll, and the rest of the cast is noticeably unsettled by her appearance and actively avoid interacting with her. The amazing Karnak, another sign of death, tells the audience that he can predict a person's death, including his own. He is unable to voice these predictions due to being set to family fun mode. Karnak can be interpreted as a stand-in for death personified. Custenbaum identifies that there are 4 key personifications of death. One of these personifications includes the personification of the automaton. An objective, unfeeling instrument in human guise. The automaton looks like a normal person, but lacks human qualities. Unlike the other personifications, he, usually a male, does not establish a human relationship of any kind. He advances with neither diabolical purpose nor gentle compassion, but as an automatic, soulless apparatus. Karnak is an automaton, with a human-like appearance, whose performance has a distinct lack of emotion towards the choir. Despite this portrayal, he can indicate to the audience his guilt towards not being able to warn the choir of their imminent death. Existentialism is the philosophical belief that we are each responsible for creating purpose or meaning in our own lives, as opposed to a purpose given to us by God, governments, or other authorities. Aristotle's theory was that essence was created before existence. This theory indicates that people are born with a predetermined purpose, and therefore the decisions that people make will ultimately lead them to that purpose. Among the first philosophers to question this philosophy were Soren, Kierkegaard, and Friedrich Nietzsche, who argued that a predetermined purpose took away the folly of life and made too much effort to group together morality with a unified body such as religion. These philosophers exerted a profound effect on 20th century philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre. Jean-Paul Sartre made existentialism a more prominent movement following the events of World War II. His theories reflect the notion that something as awful as the Holocaust could not have been a predetermined purpose, and that the individual determines their essence rather than an omnipotent being. In Kaufman's exploration of existentialism and death in text, the connection is made to the anxiety of both the unknown and the end of life. He touches on the concept that death is the end of existence, but that perhaps it is also the conclusion necessary to make existence what it is. Existentialism regarding the theme of death is clearly linked throughout the songs of the 5 choir members who are seeking to give their lives meaning. The lyrics, movement, and staging of these songs indicate their hopes, dreams, and aspirations for living their life, which can be viewed as fulfilling their own individual purpose. Ocean is lost in death, meaning to their existence, unable to come to terms with her wasted potential. Using the pop song, Ocean seeks to invalidate her classmates and what she considers their pointless existence to rally for herself to be given another chance at life. In direct contrast, Ricky has been, in death, come to realize he is content with his purpose in life and can embrace the end of that purpose to its full potential by telling the others he won't vote for himself and does not want to be voted for. He feels he was able to deliver his message to them, be kind to each other, and help those in need. The term Jane Doe is typically used as a placeholder for someone whose name is unknown or is being concealed intentionally. This can be seen in the character of Jane Doe, who is an unidentified victim who lost her head during the Cyclone incident. Jane is desperate to find the meaning and purpose in her life. Her song laments about the loss of self and the desperation to find meaning in death when there was nothing before it.
Oh, no soul and no name and no story. What a shame! Cruel existence was only a sham. Oh, St. Peter, let me in. You must know where I've been. Won't you tell me at last who I am?
Her attempts to regain her humanity and replace the soul she fears she lost are shown by her replacement of her head with that of her dolls. Jane is ultimately given the chance to be reincarnated as Penny Lamb. The ending montage of the performance shows that the newly named Penny is able to fulfill her purpose and dies peacefully of old age, surrounded by her friends and family, content with her new conclusion. Unlike some theories, semiotics and existentialism can be combined into a new approach to general philosophy known as existential semiotics. This is done by using existentialism to find purpose or meaning of the choices being made, and semiotics to understand how that meaning is interpreted by the audience. The ending of the musical being ambiguous is an example of existential semiotics. It implies the possibility of reincarnation, or simply the end of existence, through the lighting, sound, and final poses of the cast. The audience may interpret this in multiple ways, and is never specifically stated what happens in the final moments as the curtain falls. And the interpretation can change the outlook of death and of existence. The theme of death is reviewed through semiotics, existentialism, and semiotic existentialism. Right, the Cyclone was initially explored by examining the different signs used to communicate death, then death was considered through existentialism to apply meaning to the signs. These themes were further elaborated upon by the reflection of a newer philosophy, existential semiotics. Through these views of death, audiences are able to intervene their own meanings and purposes.
I know this dream